I'm going to mute you, David.
New Earth AC was formed by divine guidance to help lift up humanity and raise the vibration of all. New Earth is a community that started as a Facebook group and has grown to become an online interactive platform for those seeking to uplift, empower, and co-create with one another. On top of uplifting, we began to connect with our members on a more deeper level. We now regularly host what we call Unity Circles and live stream them on our YouTube channel. Each circle is hosted by a member who wishes to share their knowledge and gifts out to the world in hopes that they can make a difference in the lives of others. You can find these circles inside the New Earth AC Divine Ray store and on our YouTube channel. Please take whatever resonates and let the rest fall away. AC is always on the lookout for new Unity Circle hosts. If you have special gifts and know that what you have could uplift, empower, and inspire others, if you want to make a difference in the world, why not host an online Unity Circle with us? We always live stream the circles onto the New Earth YouTube channel and promote our hosts to the world. If you think you have something to give, let Bonnie Bird, David Starr, and Robin Nicole know personally, or email us at newearthac1111@gmail.com, and we will place you onto the calendar and bring you onto a community chat to let everyone get to know you before your circle. Unity Circle hosts.
So, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Now, let me just get David. I don't know. He's gone. His screen has gone black. I don't know what happened to him. I think he left the screen. I'll remove him until his screen comes back again. So hello. Welcome. We are here for our next Unity Circle. Bonnie, do you want to introduce Issa? Can you hear me, Bonnie?
What? No.
You can't hear.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it glitched right when you started to say something.
Okay, so would you like to introduce Issa? Mary. Issa Mary.
Well, this is a lovely, heartfelt lady who I met and just loved. She's just amazing. She has a lot of wonderful gifts to give out to the world, and she just shares her heart with everyone she meets. And she's just such an amazing lady. Her name is Issa Mary, and we're just so blessed to have her here today.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your words. First of all, thank you for having me and for giving me the opportunity to be here today, to share this with whoever resonated, whoever joined us, and whoever sees this afterwards in the recordings, so they might find this message for their highest good. So I'm very excited.
Just to let everybody know, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel where it's streaming live, or you're in Facebook and you see where this is streaming, if you would like to be part of this, if you're a member of the New Earth AC, you will see that there's a link available in the description of this video, and it will bring you right into the StreamYard. So come on in. The first 10 people to arrive will be able to actually sit here and be in the circle with Issa Mary, and the rest of you, unfortunately, will have to watch it from the YouTube channel, but we will put any questions up. If you have any questions and you want to ask her anything, we will definitely put the questions up and we'll be asking her for you.
Yes. And I'll be happy to answer all the questions. I hope there are a lot of questions because I'm so passionate about this subject that we're going to be sharing today. And it's a game changer. It is a game changer. Once we hear so much about boundaries, but once you're able and you learn how to place healthy boundaries, how to work with them, yeah, it's a game changer. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you, Robin or Bonnie, if you want that we wait a little bit before we start, or
Yeah, I'm going to go over to the YouTube channel and see if there's anybody trying to get in. We did have a little bit of an issue about 15 minutes before we went live, and we had to change the link. And so there could be a little bit of an issue. So if you're looking for the link, it's all fixed and all there. Issa Mary, you also sent out a little quick notice to everybody with the new link. So
yes, exactly, I did, and I posted on my Facebook, and I posted also on my personal Facebook, and on my private, my business. I don't like to call it business, but like working Facebook and the personal, it's in both. And I just see that David also put it on.
yes. That's why he isn't here with us right now. I think he's gone off sharing. I think that's
yeah, like in the 80 groups.
Hopefully he doesn't get put into Facebook jail. This happens to him on a regular basis. He shares too much.
I hope he have the right link though.
Yeah, he does. So he does, because I've corrected the link. Okay. So yeah, I hope he did put the right link.
So is it while we're sitting here waiting to see if people come on, do you want to just tell everybody about yourself a little bit, what you do?
Yes, of course.
And how you started and all that?
Yes, I'll be more than happy. Well, so my name is Issa Mary. That's my real name, Issa Mary Blanco. And I am I like to refer or to call as what I do as I'm a heart soul mentor. Because I work that very, very closely with the heart, and what I help people or assist people is to, in their journey from the mind back to their heart, and breaking free from those limitations that people have, or those beliefs that really constrict you and they don't allow you to do that travel and really be in touch with your feelings and with your heart. And also to own that is, I'm super passionate about it. It's to own their journey. To own your journey, the story, your story, everything, the good, the bad, the pretty, the not so pretty, and not just liking to embrace the rainbow and the unicorns, as I said, but to embrace the freaking everything, all of it. And that's also what I do, and I assist people with that. And yeah, own their story and embrace their uniqueness, because that story, your story, is what makes you who you are. And we are perfectly beautiful, amazing, irreplaceable. There's no one else in this planet at this moment in time quite like you. No one. And that is a freaking superpower.
Yeah, sure.
Bang. It is. It is. And I want people to see that, because it's truly like that. And for me, it's been one of the things that I, as I said, with that, it's really loving, and to really loving everything, it has to do a lot with self-love. And with self-love come all the boundaries, for example, is a key in self-love. But you have self-respect, self-dignity, like all the things of self-respect and the things that we have to honor ourselves. And I come from my own journey, not only what I study, because I'm a counselor. I'm counseling, trauma counseling. I'm a coach too. I have done Ho'oponopono and a forgiveness practitioner. I'm a Reiki master, a quantum healing master. There's a lot involved, but everything, if you really package everything, isn't those three things that I said. Embrace your uniqueness, own your journey, all of it. Fall in love with everything that you are, and break free from the limitations. And we have to love and see that beauty that we all are, and the uniqueness and the medicine that every person have. I call it medicine, but the gifts. And yeah, besides my studies is my own journey, my story that, coming from growing up in a very dysfunctional environment, that moved me to having a very not healthy patterns of what a relationship should be, and that led me into that growing up, and what everything that I witnessed brought me to a place that I thought that was the norm. So obviously that's what I look out in the outside. So that led me to have relationships with abuse. So I was abused physically and emotionally. And then like, oh, it's my own journey coming from that place to where I am now, in that place of feeling disempowered. I call it numb, but that I remember that feeling when I was back there. It's been frozen from the inside out. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no feeling, no nothing. There's just, yeah. So from there to where I am now, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I came from that place to where I am now, and I know it's possible, and I know all the shame and all the taboo that is around it, and that it's, can I curse?
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Well, that's BS.
It is.
You can curse if you want
say
to.
bullshit.
Because life, it's messy and it's real, and that's what makes life like it is. So there is not perfect. Everything is shining again. It's unicorns and rainbows and everything is light and no, man, life gets real and shit hits the fan and like, yeah. And we need to embrace everything, not just, if we only been taught to praise the light, that's BS, because life is just not like that, period.
Well, because we're humans, we have ups and downs, just like everyone else.
Exactly. And that is the beauty also.
Absolutely. Because you learn something in whatever vibration you're at, you know. And, so, you know, it's just embracing who you are and not being afraid to sometimes fall off the cliff and yell at something or get something out of your system. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, because you're human.
Yeah, and actually, in that falling down that cliff that you just mentioned is something that I in my work I call the gift. And I always, when I'm talking with the people that work with me, I ask them to just an exercise that I want you to imagine that you are what you're going through now, because when we go through hardship in our life, I said, imagine you're in the middle of a storm. There is like rain, thunder. It's just like cats and dogs coming down. It's like, it's bad. I said, yes. And you keep walking and you fall and you stand up and you're like, all this. But when we walk out, at some point, that storm ends. Eventually, it ends. It might be a super freaking long storm and it might take years. Believe me, I know. But once we will go out. And then I always tell them, look down and look into your hands. And what is there? And there is a gift. And the gift is the transformation. The gift is the person that you became during that storm, during that hardship in your life. And that it's a gift. When we are able to tap into that, we find gratitude. And once we find gratitude, we find love. Because they go like this. So also, we don't have to run away from the storm. It's not pleasant. I get it.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah. And you don't have to stay in a cave and wait for it to stop storming.
Yeah.
You know, it'll eventually end. I know that's the hardest thing to learn, is that the storm is a natural part of life. You have to mix it all up, you know, send it all out in order to rearrange it, to put it to where you need it before you can use it.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's part of life.
I don't know what happened to Robin, but she'll be back.
Technicalities, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There she is. And there you are.
I went over and I started like I wanted to put the link into the messages of this video. And I did it on the YouTube channel, and I've also done it into the New Earth AC on the Facebook page. And then on the top of my screen, I went kind of like getting rid of all the things at the top because my computer was getting a little bit busy, and I closed myself out.
Well, you're still here.
Yeah,
it's okay. I knew you'd pop back in somehow.
I don't know where David went to. He's like still like kind of really not here. I don't know where.
He'll come in when he can.
He'll come back in.
Yeah.
So
But
we have this StreamYard. I think if anybody would like to come in, the link is there. It's on the YouTube channel. If you're seeing us on the YouTube stream, and it's also on the New Earth AC Facebook page in the comment section. So if you would like to come in, you can. And when you come in, just we're going to probably mute you for a second so like you can get acclimated to what's happening in the group. Okay?
Yeah.
So that way you can get started.
Yes. We are live in the Facebook, right?
We're live in the Facebook. We're shared out to like 62 places. And we're also live on the YouTube channel. And yeah, so it's just a matter of...
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. How is that saying in English? The merrier, the better? Something like that? I don't know. Well,
yeah,
the more the merrier.
You know how like it has the little eye and it only shows like the 3 people? Those are the 3 people that are watching it on YouTube, and like it's wherever else it is.
I cannot see any of that, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Whoever find it, it's because it's meant to be watching, and that is good. As I said in the beginning, you will find it for the highest good. So
yes, right.
It's all good. It's perfect.
Okay.
Yes. So
I'm going to go on mute and let you talk.
Perfect. Thank you. And for anyone that is watching, if you have any questions, please. I don't know how it works with the chat. If I will see it, or Bonnie will see it, or Robin will see it.
I'm going to watch the chats. I have the chat going on for the YouTube channel. If you find that I'm not putting your question up, maybe you need to go over to the YouTube New Earth AC and put your comment there, because when you put a comment into a Facebook post, you have to actually be looking at that stream in order to find the comment. So if you find that we're not answering your comment, it's because we're not seeing it.
Again, technicality.
Technicality. Okay.
Okay, good. So again, I'm super excited, and let's get into this. So boundaries, that's what we were talking today. And as I said, I'm very, very passionate about it because boundaries has been really a game changer for me, and because of my personal story, and because of my personal story and my journey of loving myself and my journey of honoring me, respecting me and everything that I am. And one I have read, I mean, it's again, because of my work and everything, I have read extensively about this subject. And the more I learn and the more I study, the more I fall in love with it. And from all the things that I have read about it, all the definitions, you can find hundreds of definitions about boundaries. One that I really is like, I love it, is it's loving boundaries is like loving yourself so deeply that you're so courageously, even when it means disappointing others. And that really is, because one of the key things in setting boundaries, and one of the key points that I find with people that I work is like, well, but if I set boundaries, this person will not love me anymore, or I won't be accepted, or is this fear of not being accepted and not being seen or not being loved or heard. And that's for me, that definition of it's really loving you so courageously that even when it means disappointing others, you still stand for yourself, because you're putting yourself first. And putting yourself first have nothing to do with being selfish, because that's another thing that I encounter when I said this. People was like, oh, that's being selfish. And I'm like, well, let's unpack that. Let's unpack that. Why do you think that it's being selfish? Actually, because when we set boundaries and we talk about healthy boundaries, and when we set boundaries from a heart space, we do it through love, right? Obviously, respecting and honoring the other person. When you set boundaries, doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole. Again, sorry for my French. With the other person, I'm very like that. But again, this is me. Take it or leave it. And what are boundaries? So boundaries are limits, right? Boundaries is basically is what it's okay and what is not for me, what I accept and what I don't accept. And the first thing that I do, and I recommend people, is to really find out what is okay for you, what is not. And it's an exercise that I invite everyone who is watching this, because we believe, most of the time we believe, oh, I know what I want. I know what are my needs. I know what are my values. I know, do you really, from in this point in time, in your reality now, because we are always evolving. People think that whoever thinks that we don't change and that everything is static, good luck with that. Obviously, I respect your is that your perspective? I honor it and I respect it. But my belief is that we're always changing. And if we're evolving and changing as a constant in our life, as change is, also our needs, our values, our views, things will change too and shift. So that's why my invitation would be, is if you're watching, after you watch us, just take a moment and to sit down with yourself and say, go within and say, okay, what are my needs? Truly my needs. And it's an exercise that I love doing, and I recommend my clients to do this. That it's free writing. And I would recommend you to take a piece of paper and just start writing down it, because the first thing that's going to kick in is your mind. The mind will be, this is all the things I need, and these are my values, and this is my wants, and da 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 da. After a while, once the mind, it's to dump all the things, right? The ego mind is out there. The heart will kick in. And that's where we'll find, and then that's what we know, okay, that's really what I find, what is okay and what is not. And from that ground of really truly seeing what we really care about, what we hold dear into our hearts, and all of this, is that we can set boundaries. Okay, these are my needs, these are my values, these are my wants, these are my desires. From here, I set about a boundary. Because boundaries are dividing lines. I said there are limits, but also there are dividing lines, because they say where I end, so this is me, and here starts the other person, right? It's where I end and when the other person starts. We also get to see that with boundaries. And also, as I said, the boundaries are rules, what is okay and what is not. And one thing that I love about boundaries, and when we have that clarity, is that boundaries are very close related with authenticity. Because when we are authentic to ourselves, we can truly be authentic to ourselves when we have clear boundaries. Because there are nothing to hide. There's no mask. There's this, like I said, this is it. And I'm clear about it. Once we do, I think that it's also super important, is that boundaries are guardians. Boundaries are set in place. Healthy boundaries, they keep us safe, because they're the guardians of our needs, of our values, of our feelings, our emotions, our uniqueness. They are the guardians of you, of who you truly, most authentically are, who you are. And boundaries guard our truth, our inner truth. So boundaries are our friends. Boundaries are amazing. Really, they are incredible once we set them, and as I said, from a place of love and respect, and okay, I'm trying not to curse. Okay, let me say, how can I say not being an asshole without being saying that? Without being a mean person. You don't have to be mean when you're setting boundaries.
I've got a question for you around this.
Yes.
Okay, so this is something that's come up in my life recently, right? And so there's this person that I don't really even know, and it's a man, and he has found me on this, on my network and watching me and stuff like this, and felt that it's okay to just call me sis. And it was like creeping me out, and it was kind of like, I'm not your sister, I don't even know who you are. And so how do you go about that when somebody is like stepping past that boundary where they think like it's cool to like call you sis, which I don't know why people are doing this to begin with, because why would people do that? Like, what makes a person come to somebody and call them their sis or their brother or sis or bro, and when they don't even really know the person?
Okay.
What is going on there? Like, can you tell me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I see you. So the thing is that with boundaries, the first thing that I would tell you and everyone that is watching, once we know with clearly that he's crossing a boundary, you're clear with it, you feel it, and it's like, okay, there's a red flag. I don't like this. This person is crossing a boundary. We have to communicate that. Once we have clarity, we have to communicate things, because we cannot expect that the other person know our rules, right? Because boundaries are like your rules, and there's an example
because it's different for everybody, and it just happens to trigger me in that way, right? So.
Yeah. But the thing is, here is a key point. So boundaries are a set like rules, and I will give you an example, right, that I use. And you have a park, right? You have your inner park, your inner garden, and these are the rules. Outside of my garden, before you entered, outside you will see a list. Da, 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 da. There are the rules of my garden. These are my rules, because they are my boundaries, okay? And they are explicitly outside, and I communicate those boundaries so everyone can see I am clear with it. This is what it's not okay in my garden, okay? Yeah, you can read it. If that person wants to get into my garden, which is totally okay, you can come. These are my rules. At the moment they enter, they're agreeing to these rules that I already communicated. They could see them.
So where do you put them? Like, where do you?
I would be, if, for example, obviously, because we're not walking like with a, like, hey, yeah. Boundaries, you know, yeah. So, funny.
Don't call me sis.
I know, right? So it would be
that.
Because clearly this person is triggering you. So my recommendation would be first for you to communicate to that person, like, okay, so you're calling me this way, and I will appreciate if you, from now on, if you could refrain to calling me that way. My name is Robin, and I appreciate when people call me from my first name. Could you please do that for me?
I ended up doing that, but I waited too long, I think.
Yeah, but it's just, we really have to be clear. And the other thing is, we cannot expect that if we don't communicate, again, from a loving place, our rules, like our boundaries, we cannot expect that it's like, oh my God, hello? That's obvious. I mean, how can you do this? That's like, no, remember, each of us have different glasses, and our glasses alter our reality. So what is okay, maybe for that person calling you, he goes by life calling everyone like, hey bro, hey sis, this is like normal. For him, it might be the most cool thing, normal ever, but it clearly triggers you. Yeah. So it's just being clear. Always, we have to communicate in a clear way. What are our boundaries?
And so you recommend the first thing you do, as soon as something like that type of thing would happen, that you would just let that person know, this isn't okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Directly. I don't wait. And if it's something doesn't resonate, and if you know clearly, and we will get into that, because boundaries, there are different ways how we know when someone crosses the boundary, right? One of them is very physical, and we feel it. Mostly we know why in our solar plexus, we feel it here. It's like, the thing is like, oh, this is not sitting right. Like, I don't like that. Bah, why? Bah, 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 bah. And before you get all worked up, like, why do you have to call me sister? Blah, 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 blah. You feel it. It's physically, you're feeling someone cross your boundary. And now in that moment, before we get all worked up, we communicate from a place, again, you know what? I can see you're calling me this way, but I will appreciate if you call me from my first name. My name is Robin. Could you please from now on refrain to call me sister and call me Robin?
That's a great idea. Thank you, because this is perfect. That's a really good thing.
I think that person calls everybody that, and he doesn't name. So
yeah. This person does call everybody that.
I get it. You know what? Yeah. I sometimes I do that. Not with everyone, but especially with women. With some women, I feel this. Sometimes I say, "Hey, sister," Thank you so much for bringing this up, because maybe I'm also triggering someone who's like, what the heck?
No,
was that
because like
girl?
this
Like,
is
calling
this
me
the way.
stupid?
No, it's
No.
not done in that way, because there's many people that do this, and they get to know you a little bit first before they call you that. Whereas this person right off the bat didn't even know who I was, started calling me that. And that was the
Okay.
part that triggered. It was like, whoa, this is overstepping a boundary. Whereas if like somebody like had a conversation with you and they met with you and they're like, wow, I really feel really connected to you, and like Bonnie and I were like, oh, we're like sisters, you know, we do that, yeah. But like it was like right off the first thing that he called me was sis, and he kept saying sis, hi sis, and all this. It was like, oh, it was like creepy,
He's like,
and it made me feel like cringing.
I can
It's like,
feel
maybe you
it.
call me sis, and I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Right.
Group.
Well-
I guess I won't share this broadcast in that group.
You don't have to worry about it, David. Share it over there. I don't care.
Yeah.
He knows
No,
what
but
I'm
really,
talking about.
communicate. That's
Well,
the
I
key.
mean, yeah, get to know somebody a little bit. Yeah, get to know somebody's heart a little bit before, you know, like if David was
Yeah.
calling us sister, we wouldn't care because we know his heart. It's just a little different. I don't know. Some people just
Yeah.
throw those words around.
Yeah, it depends. It depends of every person, but the key element here would be to communicate. As I said, first we need to know. The first step is knowing what is okay and what is not okay, because that's where boundaries, like I said at the beginning, is the most simplest way that I can put it out there is that you know about, we know there are needs, our wants, our desire, our values, but what is okay and what is not. This is not okay for me.
So what
And then you can
happens
do
if
that.
I've done this before? I actually have told someone not to do that, and they say, but you let someone else do that, so why can they?
Okay, so maybe move to the different points. So let's continue with this example, because it's really, really cool. It's very visual, and I like to do visual examples. So we have, this is my garden, I said, and I have the rules of my garden. If you come into my garden, and one of the rules in my garden is that you cannot litter. Let's just say, like, you cannot just come and just leave rubbish, right? It's in there. You read it when you came in, right? And I see you, and you're finishing your thing, and you're dumping all that, and I'm like, hello? And I walk to the person, and clearly, maybe didn't read the rules. That's okay. I'll communicate that, like, you cannot, If that person disregard, after I communicate that, there is a consequence. And that's another thing with boundaries. We need to have consistency. Boundaries, there comes a consequence. And for me, in that place, again, in the garden, it's like, well, I told you, I communicate, and you disregard my explanation. I told you clearly, what was it? So I'll invite you now to leave my garden. No, but I'll invite you to leave my garden now. There was a rule. I told you that was my boundary. I explicitly told you. You didn't read it, and then I approached you, and I told you, and then you still chose, because it's a choice, to cross my boundary. Then I'll invite you to leave my garden. That doesn't mean that person can ever come back.
In the case of like what Bonnie was saying, so you don't need to explain yourself or anything.
No,
nothing.
These are my rules of my garden. Whoever have another garden, great. Not your. I don't care. You can put whatever rules you want. Each person we have our boundaries, and that's another thing with boundaries. It is okay to say no. It is okay to say no, and no, it's an explanation per se. That's it. No, but why? No means no.
That's one of the hardest things. That's one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with, is being able to say no.
Yeah,
because you feel like you're like a doormat, and they're like, I'm not a doormat, and why do all these people want me to do all this stuff? And whenever I say no, I feel like I have to give an explanation every single time, and you don't have to.
No, you bring me to the point that is very important. There are two common, I call them traps in boundaries. So there's two things. One is the feeling sorry, like, oh, I feel sorry. And the other one is I feel guilty. You feel guilt, okay? Or you feel resentment. Okay, so the feeling sorry story is as clearly I feel sorry, like, oh, like, oh well, I don't know, but man, if I said no, oh man, sorry. It's just like you are that person is mirroring something unhealed on you. There is a part you're recognizing in that person, unhealed part of yourself, and that's what is triggering you feeling sorry. And it's okay. It's totally okay because you're seeing that, and that is great. The thing is that doesn't mean that you see that and you see that reflection and that unhealed part of yourself in that other human being, doesn't mean that you have to go all the way, the extra mile. Let I go. I'm gonna go way and beyond, bend myself over just to. No, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. You can meet halfway, and there is a difference that and this is, it comes into compassion. There is a difference between feeling sorry for someone and feeling compassion. And that's in this moment when you feel sorry, I'll invite you to go within yourself and find out what I'm feeling. You say, I feel sorry. Yes, okay. Well, I'm feeling sorry. Oh shit. Again. Man, it's so hard for me not to curse.
It's okay. Don't worry.
We don't have anybody out here going to arrest you for it.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to arrest
I'm sorry, but again, this is me. So you will see that part, and you see that part, and you recognize that unhealed part in yourself. And then what if I approach it, instead of feeling sorry, I feel compassion? What if instead of going the extra mile, we meet each other halfway? I don't do all the work for the other person. I have empathy for you because I can see I have compassion, but that doesn't mean I have to do that, bend myself over and do everything for you.
So how do you get out of a relationship where that person makes your life miserable until you do what they want?
Well,
so how do you do that?
How do you leave a relationship when you feel miserable? Was that the question?
No, the person makes you feel miserable until you do what they want.
Okay, well, first of all, we have to remember that we're not responsible for anyone else but for ourselves, right? That would be the first thing. Even you can be married to someone and that person can be the love of your life. That doesn't mean that you're responsible for how they feel, what they do with their life. They have their own path. We can choose to walk next to each other, right? But that doesn't mean the fact that I'm choosing is a choice every day to stay and walk next to you, and we walk together because we deeply love each other, the same path, doesn't mean that I'm responsible for when you made a mistake or when you do something. It's not. We have free will. That is very important that we remind ourselves about that. And again, I'm not responsible when we're setting boundaries. I'm not responsible of what the other person is going to do with me. Believe me, when you start setting boundaries, you're going to rock the boat like holy guacamole. People are not going to be happy. People are not happy, especially the people that is used to take advantage of you, or it's used to, they're going to be like, what? Whoa, what is happening? No. Wait, no. What got into her? That's not, no, she's always, no. Why is she saying no? Oh my God. It's normal because you're changing. The pattern is that you always do allow this situation to happen. And the moment you start setting boundaries, you're going to rock the boat. And rocking the boat is okay. And the other thing that what if I rock the boat and I lose people? You most likely will. You will. Most likely you will lose some people. But the people that would fall out of your boat, or the people that said, oh, well, you cannot do this and I'm not happy. And I said, well, dude, or whatever, jump out of my boat then.
Let them find somebody else to do that too.
Let them find another boat because this is my boat and this is how we roll.
And if they want to come back, they have to roll with your boat rules. Like
exactly.
They can't
no,
just
really. Yeah, it
back.
is like that. And I always tell, and I understand because also this is something very close to my heart, and I have have worked extensively about it, is this wound of abandonment that I have, and like, oh, I'm gonna end up alone, and now I'm gonna lose all the people. It's like, I will lose the people that doesn't truly see me and love me and honor me for my for being me, my most authentic version of myself. I don't like your boat when you are like this. Then you don't like me. Then you don't love me. And that it's okay. It is okay. It's going to hurt. But if you want to leave my boat, do it. Someone else will say like, holy moly, I love that boat. Oh my God, I can't wait to get in that freaking boat. And they're going to jump into my boat because they will like what they see and they will be crazy to be in your boat. So don't be afraid to losing people if you rock your boat.
Yeah, that. Can I just say something about that? What you're just talking about?
Yeah.
So the boat thing,
Yeah.
and all of this like rocking the ship. This kind of in the spiritual community and what we're doing, there's a lot of people like, because we be interviewing people and they be wanting to come on and show their passion and their heart and everything out to us. And it's almost, there's a lot of people that are afraid to let the people in their life know that they're doing this because they're afraid that they're going to lose everybody if they really let everybody know their true feelings of their heart, their true spirituality and stuff. So I see this happening a lot where people will have, and I did it at the beginning as well. They'll have like a profile for their regular people, and then they'll have a profile for their spiritual side of people. And they're afraid to let the regular people actually know the real them.
Yeah.
And so, but at some stage, you're going to have to say, okay, if you don't want to be in my boat, and you don't like the whole me, like this part that's like the spiritual part and the person that does the crazy light language that they would think is crazy and all the things, then it's going to have to be okay that you don't like to be in my boat. And you have to get past that and in order to fully stand in your power and fully
And you know what? And I have deep compassion for that because again, I think this is something that touches very closely to a lot of us. And it's painful. It is painful to lose people that you love.
Yeah, because you feel like everybody that loved you before you woke up and before you started sharing that part of you is going to leave you. And I, for one, would like to tell everybody that the people that really love you, they're not going to care. Because I was worried about that. I had 2 different Facebook pages and everything. And I didn't let my family really know what I was doing. And now my family knows what I do. And they don't watch what I do. They don't pay attention to what I do. But they still love me for who I am. And they don't care. And so maybe we think that we're going to lose them because we're letting the world know like what our heart really and truly is aligned with. But really at the end of the day, you're only going to lose a few of those people.
Yes. And the people that you lose, and I know this is not easy to hear, believe me, I know because it happened to me. My life partner for 14 years walked away because he couldn't handle. So I know how it is. But the people that choose because it's a choice, the person that by choice, using their free will, choose to, again, let's keep in the boat, choose to get out of your boat, it's because it doesn't love and honor your truest, most authentic self. You do not, and I cannot stress enough about this, you do not have to shop yourself, change, pretend, in order to be loved or accepted or honored. The person that loves you, truly loves you, is going to embrace everything that you are. Even your quirkiness, your cursing, and whatever it is, they will see it and they will value that. As I said, some people will jump out of your boat, but they will be others, and your boat might be freaking lonely for a while. That's another reality. It might happen. Maybe not, but it might. But if it happened, it's okay because we're never alone. But because we know we have spirit and we have all the beautiful support, and we have people, friends, and people that loves us no matter what, how we are, because they see our real, our most authentic self. And there will be people in that journey that will see your bonus, like, wow.
They'll feel your vibration.
God,
They'll
yeah.
feel it, and they'll want to be a part of it. And then you'll have new people in your boat who actually align with your purpose,
Yes.
with what you have in your side of your heart.
Yes.
And then when you wake up every day, you feel like the people that are in your life love you for who you are. And that's the
Exactly.
most wonderful feeling.
It is.
to have
It's
that right in your
amazing.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that we can accomplish with the boats and with the boats. Yeah, with the boat and rocking the boat and with our boundaries. So we use
Yeah.
the boundaries to rock that freaking boat, lose the people it doesn't meant to be in our boat, and then make a space for the people that is meant to be in our boat. It works like that.
Yeah,
And
also
one
like-
thing that also that you mentioned before, I'm trying to jump into again, is that you said you something that about when you set boundaries, the resentment that we can feel, and that happens, and the guilt is like because we are used to, okay, when especially when we are pleasers. I know again it's very part of me. I love to say yes to everything. And like, yeah, and I want to help, and I just want to like, yeah. So to say no, when you said yes, but inside of you, you're feeling a no, honor it.
Yeah, because what does it do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I said yes to you, when inside of me I'm screaming, no, I don't want to do this. Oh my God, no. What it's creating, I'm going to end up doing something that I didn't want to do in the beginning.
And the whole time you're doing it, you're going to be pulling your hair out.
Yeah.
You're going to be swearing, and you're going to be bitching about that person. And
Yeah,
why do
and
I
you're
have to
gonna
do this?
become
And
resentful.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's that. Then that's what's the point. So that's another thing. If you feel inside, and again, we really have that compass. And if someone asks you for something, and you're like, I don't know, I'm feeling inside that it's a no. The other day I shared this with someone, and someone was telling me, yeah, but I mean, but it's a very dear friend. It's someone that I love, and I have to say yes. And I was like, well, no. The only thing I have to do one day is dying. I don't have to do anything that I don't want to. So, but then it's like I can honor myself, but from a place of love. And I put the example of a move. For example, it says it's exactly that was the question. The person was telling me someone asked me to help them to move, right? But I already have plans for the weekend, for the Saturday. But I have to say yes. I said, no, you don't have to. You can honor yourself, but also in a loving way to say to that person, I would love to help you to move. I will. I cannot do it on Saturday because I already have a plan for Saturday, but I will be there on Sunday morning. I will bring you cappuccinos, I don't know, whatever that person likes, and then we will do it together, and I will help you unpack all the bags on Sunday. I'm going to be there all day. On Saturday, I cannot do it. That you feel you're honoring your friend, you're being there for your friend, you're not bending yourself over, like I said before, saying, okay, you go, and you're like all Saturday, like bitching around inside because we don't say it out loud. We're just like inside ourselves because we said yes when we wanted to say no. It's okay to say no. I'm going to get a freaking stick. I'm going to get a t-shirt. I'm going to walk around, say it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. It is okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
It really is okay to say no. Again, how we say it from a place of love, right? Of compassion and all the things that I mentioned before. And one thing that I was talking about, that inner, that like compass that we have, it's some people tell me, sometimes ask me, but how do I know that someone crossed my boundaries? How can you know that? And I said, well, we have different ways. The first that I'll talk about is feelings. So you feel it, okay? How we feel it, you might feel anxious. You might feel unsafe because the triggers will lead this unsafety. You might feel pressured, or you might feel dominated, drained. Like those are like, call it red flags. So when you feel that, it's like, go within and say, okay, where is this coming from? It's like, okay, yeah, a boundary was crossed. And then another way is that we know is when we, and this one is when we start modifying our behavior, or our way, our being, how we are, or completely avoiding or withdrawing. in order to be in a way for that person. So in this, with this people, I have to be this way in order to be like, what? If you're changing your behavior, and if you're changing the way you have to look, think, talk, communicate in order to be accepted in a group, like, clearly it's telling you something, that it's going against your, that's authenticity. It's like this with boundaries, really. That would be another red flag the moment you catch yourself doing that. And the third one is very physical, and that would be physically how we feel. Like we feel tightening in our belly, so it feel like a knot in our belly, or we can feel a knot also in our throat, or pressure in our chest. Physically, other people start sweating. You start sweating. Your heart rate can get higher. That is another, as I said, it's another red flag. So be aware of the things. If you don't know how to recognize it, these are what I call red flags. And red flags is our body, not only the physicality of our body, but also our intuition telling us, watch out, watch out, watch out. And our intuition pretty much always knows. Like, I would say always, but okay. A lot of the times knows. So just watch, see those red flags. What is that? What is behind that? Remember, boundaries are our guardians. Boundaries are there to protect us, to protect our truth, our values, our need, they are there for guard, to really protect us. Boundaries are our friends. They are. Because they're there to keep us safe. Yeah.
So
Then,
I wonder if Maya has any questions. Do you have any questions?
I mostly feel it in my womb, like when I feel this coldness in my womb, because I basically feel unsafe.
yeah.
That is the main feeling for me. Then I know, well, as I know, I really struggle with boundaries, as you know, Issa, but I mean, lately I feel like I've lost people that were very dear to me, same as you. Like, it's a really hard place to be in.
Yeah. And also, I think it's because sometimes we haven't been taught how to set boundaries.
Yeah, definitely.
We're about it.
That's it right there. I don't think I was ever taught that.
It's also for
an
me, if your boundaries are continually violated, you don't even connect to your own needs. I usually know that I'm crossed the boundary because I went way too far. Yeah. And the boundary is like way behind me, and I'm getting so uncomfortable that I realize, oh wow, that was a boundary like way back there.
Yeah. And this really, we have to, the more attuned, and it takes practice. I get that, especially when someone is not used to set boundaries. It takes practice, but again, practice make the master. The more you practice, and the easier will get for you to set boundaries. And one of the things how we set boundaries is, one is being assertiveness. We have to really express our needs firmly. Like, we need to be able to say what are my needs. And again, it doesn't mean, when I said firmly, doesn't mean that you have to be and mourn.
but still people can get angry. I found when I set boundaries, sometimes still people can get reactions that you do not expect.
But again, it's what I said before. It's not my problem how people react to me setting a boundary.
Yeah,
I have no control of how other people react. The only thing that I can control is how I react to something, what I feel and how I react. Everything outside of that, I have no control whatsoever. I can't pretend and live with the illusion that I can control how everything is going to, what people is going to think and how they're going to. I cannot control that. I can only control my side, right? Yeah. So in that way, it's how we communicate these needs, and we can communicate these needs, as I said, without being, bitchy or like an ass, or like, we can communicate in a nice way. So we can say, I feel I feel when this and this situation plays, or because of this, I am feeling that. We can say that, or we can clearly say, this is happening. What I need in this moment is A, B, C, D. We can talk about the things without jumping the gun and being aggressive about it. We can just say it like from a really loving place. And it's a loving place because you're honoring you. So yes,
I have to say something in between. My husband's doing construction, so I have this drill going on. So I want to say something before the drill comes back on again.
Go.
It was about I find about what you're talking about. I find that it's Americans have a harder time with being nice, like, or by saying no, than Europeans do, because I'm living in Ireland, and whenever I go to say no, I'm like too kind or something. It's like they're not getting my no, and they literally have to have the no done in a much more stern way than what you would do in America, because in America you wouldn't have to be that stern or that blunt in order for them to get it. But people will always say, they walk all over you, Robin, because you're too nice. You're too nice. Like, they're not, and around here, they're not used to that. They're not used to someone being so nice. And so when I say something in a nice way, they don't get it. They don't get me.
I have the same problem in the Netherlands, so I don't know. And I'm Dutch, so yeah, the exact same thing. Yeah, I have to be really firm, and because I'm too nice, like I feel like this and that, and I feel myself repeating myself endlessly.
No, sorry. That my question would be: are you setting consequences?
No.
That's the problem. Is that you're the problem? Sorry to break the bubble, but
I'm not setting consequences.
The problem is that you're not consistent. Yeah. Remember, consistency.
That is true.
So because we can be nice, again, when I said firmly, doesn't mean that I have to be like, rah. No, I can be firm and say no, and from a loving place. And if I said no, but they come out and I have to explain myself, I don't have to freaking explain nothing. I already told you no. You continue to do it. Get out of my garden now.
Yeah, it's true.
No, really. I mean, it's like, get out of my garden. That doesn't mean that I cannot bring that person inside of my garden again. They might come once again.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So if you need to have consistency. And that's another thing with boundaries. I cannot have boundaries. Like, these are like, go back to the example of the park, of my garden. I have these rules for these people. But for these people, I have different rules. No, that doesn't fly. No. You have consistency. These are the rules of my park. And the rules of my park are the same for my two sons, and it will be the same for the neighbor. It's the same. We have to have consistency.
Like Issa, like Bonnie said, for instance, like, what do you do? Why? Okay, let me give an example. For example, Bonnie also said, like, sometimes you want something with a person, and with the other person you don't want it. Like, for instance, hugging. Like, in the spiritual community, it's very common to hug everyone, but with some guys, I feel uncomfortable, and I do not want to hug them, while I want to still hug the lady next to him.
Go for it. You hug the lady because you feel like it, and when the other person comes to hug you, you put your arms like that. I don't want to hug you. I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to explain myself. I mean, when I'm saying that, when I'm referring to have consistency is, for example, if you have a rule, a boundary of, we use the example of that littering thing. Like, if I don't like
your own feeling, like your own inner guidance, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So it is like that. It's like I have rules, for example, for people to contact me. And some people think that because of I am nice, they can contact me at 2 a.m. in the morning. No, you cannot. Do not contact me at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm sorry, I'm not available.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Mhm.
And I have to, and of course, you have to be there to helping always. I am here and I can help, but I'm not going to be there at 2 a.m. I am sorry. But no, there is a rule. And my boundary is that my hours are from here to there. But you have to do, I don't have to.
Yeah, but
This
like
are
for
my
instance,
rules.
like also with this, I would make a distinction, because if there is a friend that I know is suffering from some,
Yeah, obviously, yeah, exactly. It's a, if you know that it's a friend like that you're saying. But in this case, that for example, with that I said, you have these rules, and these are my times, and this is the time that people can contact me. And if I want to hug, but why you're hugging them and we don't hugging? Because I like to hug people that are my friends. But you're not hugging me, then you're not my friend. Like, I don't know, I don't feel like hugging you. It's like, remember what I said in the beginning, loving ourselves is it's like boundaries is loving ourselves so courageously that we are okay with disappointing others. It is okay when it is okay to rock the boat. It is okay for people leaving our boat. It's not easy. It doesn't feel great when people that you like leave your life. It's not. I get it. It's not.
yeah.
So
This is kind of deep seated in like childhood and stuff, when your parents or your aunt or your uncle or whatever, they're getting ready to leave or come to see you, and they're like, give me a hug. And if a child, we're now learning that you have to ask for that hug. Like, I have a little nephew that lives upstairs, and I said one day, I said, give me a hug. And his father stepped in and said, you ask him if it's okay for a hug. I was like, I never thought of that. Because all of our lives, we just automatically just think that we're just going to hug each other, and we don't ask, is it okay if, can I have a hug? Like, we don't do that. And we really should think of that. It's deep seated. It's like it comes from childhood.
Seems that we haven't been able to see everybody been in shelter for so long. I think you should hug as many people as you can.
Yeah, I know. I'm a hugger. I'm like a teddy bear. I want to hug everyone. I said, even I remember here, I live in Germany, and I said, you know what, when this pass, I'm gonna sit in the middle of the most crowded place in the city. I have done it before, by the way, and I'm gonna get a sign that said, and I'm gonna hug every freaking person. I'm gonna stand there and say, you want a hug? I have done it with free hugs. I have done it several times in my life.
Free hugs.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm
giving
giving
hugs.
hugs.
Free hug sign, actually. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna hug everyone, whoever needs a hug, because I think in this time, like as David was saying, we need love, actually. But yeah, what you said is that with going back again to the boundaries is why it can be setting boundaries difficult. One of the things is that, and Maya was saying, is because they have been violated before several times. So you're like, you have difficulties with that. Also because you were not taught when you were a kid. There was no structure in that way. No one told you about boundaries. There were no boundaries whatsoever. There is also that you don't know what is okay and what is not. You don't have that clarity that I spoke in the very beginning of the conversation. And that you don't put yourself first. Also.
Yeah, especially, I mean, you learn, like I learned from my mom. She was always last. She was always doing everything for everyone else. So you think, oh, that's what moms do.
Yeah.
And really, no one ever told her that she didn't have to be last either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to learn that you're included in the group. You're not, and then there's mom.
Yeah.
You're included.
Yeah. And also this other thing that comes also with boundaries in this archetype that you're just talking about is that with the pleaser, is that you were only rewarded when you're like, when you sacrifice, when you get in this position, it's like, oh, then it's when you're praised. It's like, oh, yay, because you do, oh, because, and then you learn that it's like you have to bend over in order to be acknowledged. If you have to bend over in order to be loved or to be accepted. And no, no, it's not like that. Well, no, period. I was going to say, this is my belief. No, it's not. That's my belief. I'm against it. I'm going to voice it. I don't feel that anyone has to bend over or sacrifice in order to be loved or accepted, or I don't resonate with that, period. And then it could be that you were punished too. When you're growing up and you're trying to, you know, like you want to do, and then you're, yeah, like, hush up, or just sip it, or just like, don't talk now, the grown-ups are talking, blah, 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 you have nothing to say because you're a kid. What do you know? It's like all the things that we hear sometimes when we're growing up, that could be also an ingredient that is there for people then in their, when they grow up, when we're older, that struggle a little bit with setting boundaries. Yeah,
Exactly.
Your program, Remembering Your Magnificence, that's coming up in October, is boundaries like a big part of the program?
Yeah, because really, I have said, I mean, boundaries are a game changer. They really are a game changer. I talk about different things. There is 8 weeks, my program, and I talk about the pillars of it. So you have to honor your, finding your voice, like finding what is that voice, what is your truth, and being able to stand up for that, and to honor that part of yourself, to honor your feelings. Not that it's only like, oh, this is okay and this is not. No, to embrace everything. What I said in the beginning, we have to understand that everything, it's okay. All the spectrum of feelings and all the spectrum of who we are, it's okay. It's not only what I said, rainbows and unicorns are okay, but if it's dark as a shadow or something, then it's not okay. That's a paradigm that we have to break, because life is not like that. Life is not only one side. Everything has two sides. We have a polarity. And in all that spectrum is to really, and that's one of the things we covered in my program, Remember Your Magnificence. It's about honoring that and embracing that. Embrace everything that you are, your uniqueness, everything. And when I said own your story, it's everything. Own your story. Your voice, find your voice. You need to have boundaries. Also, to have really, really strong boundaries, to stand up for yourself, for your truth, and honor yourself, and with self-love, that you have to be willing to courageously say, nope, this is not gonna fly. You need to have in that place. Huh?
Everybody will have like different, like, you know, challenges if they're in like maybe a trapped relationship, finding their voice, setting boundaries because they don't want to rock the boat and break up a marriage or this or that. So everybody's like unique circumstances. If they signed up for your course, do you also offer them some like private coaching along the way, like for their unique situation?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do in the program is I encapsulate in my program everything that I've learned in the last 15 years around it's more the 30 different embodiment things that we do. So it's not only, obviously every person has, and you will get an assessment at the beginning of the program to know what is the core in your case, what is the core in that, so we can know how to best address that. And that we will do then with, as I said, it's from counseling, coaching, Ho'oponopono, forgiveness. I use shamanism. Most of you that follow my work, you know that I'm also being initiated, and I have follow different lineages in shamanism. So it's everything. It's really weaving everything together. Everything that I learned when I was doing trauma counseling, when I was like all the things with my own journey. Because one of the things that I tell and I realize in the last 2.5 years, it's a different thing. Walk the talk. It seems very easy to sit down and preach and talk about self-love and all the things when everything is great in your life. When shit hits the fan, to being able to stand up in your ground and hold your sacred ground and really being in that place and find your inner voice and your strength and your love and love yourself when you are in the shit. That's not easy. I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's not. And also I bring that part because of what happened in my personal life. And there is a difference in walking the talk and how you can relate afterwards. And I know this now, how I used to be when I was sitting, if I would be 4 years, 45 years ago, and I would be sitting and doing trauma counseling, how I approach it now is different, because it gives you a different perspective. Because it's one thing is to connect here from all the wisdom, the knowledge that I got when I was studying. But when you connect from here, because it's like, I see you and I know you're breaking.
How you do an assessment at the beginning. So
Issa Mary, what is the name of your course? Can you tell us the name of your course?
Yes, of course. So it's called Remember Your Magnificence, and it's the core of this is embracing your uniqueness. Okay, your uniqueness is your medicine, your gift, everything that you are. Own your journey, the good, the bad, the middle, the ugly, the pretty, the quirky, the everything, because that journey made you. It made me, and it made you. To embrace all of that. And then the last part is transform your pain or your hardship. I call it pain because I relate it with my journey. It's into power and into something that breaks from victimhood. I refuse to be defined by all the shit that had happened in my life and all the trauma and everything that happened. I refuse. I'm not going to stay in victimhood. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. And I choose to transform that and from being from that place of being a victim to say, I'm not gonna stay there. I'm gonna transform this into something that propels me into something way bigger. And this is what my program is, basically. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good. It's good. And you know, like, if you're making boundaries and you're having more about self-love for yourself, and you lose something that's, you know, causes like a big thing, like a split in the family. Say that's the kind of like the worst case scenario, but maybe that's the best case scenario. Maybe what you're gaining is that healing, that independence and that self-love, and you're not letting people just take total advantage of you, right? Into a point where they dim your light, and you're feeling trapped and you're feeling like a prisoner. So like to embrace a program like this and to put your heart on the line so that you can be your true, authentic, best version of yourself despite the consequences of anything. Like if you can go from being unhappy to happy.
Yeah, and also is that, and I we cover that in the program. It's one of the models, and it's one of the last models. We have 8, and I call it finding your inner beloved, because you realize that when we cease to look for outside for validation, that's an endless. Believe me, I know. I was 14 years looking for the love and approval of my husband. Never got it. I could have stayed with him for 25 years. I was not going to get it. It was like track. I get it. You're trying to catch air. You cannot, because you're looking for something on the outside. It is here. We have to find it here, and it's within of each of us. And that doesn't mean also you're telling me now that we have to be alone. No, I'm not saying that by any means. I'm not. But I'm saying that we have everything with us. When we are able to love ourselves for who we truly are, really that part that I said, and I'm gonna be like, oh, like this, fluorescent lights, like saying like this, is when we're able to love our most authentic version of ourselves, everything that you are, that shines in such an incredible way to the outside. I don't know how to describe it in words. It's
like
this,
you're shining your essence, right? You're shining
yeah,
your essence
yeah,
'cause
and
you're
that's why I call it
layers.
magnificence. Yeah,
And if you hold yourself back and like what David was talking about with, like, say, a relationship, say you have children and you're in a relationship and you're not really fighting, but you just know like there's something just doesn't, it's not working. And a lot of people will stay in that relationship for the sake of the children. And one thing I have learned is the children feel it anyways. And if the children feel, they can feel your sadness, they can feel your pain, even if you're not voicing it.
yeah,
And so if you're just staying in a relationship just for the sake of the children, you're better off to leave the relationship so that your children can feel the whole of you, the real you, the part of you. They don't have to feel that pain anymore.
yeah. And another thing that it's basic in this point, because I know, because I have 2 kids, they're
Mhm.
small, 2
I
boys.
know, because I have done it too.
Yeah, and is that you're shaping, even when we think we're not, we are shaping our kids. They're learning from us. We are an example for them. One of the things that I was questioning myself when this happened, yeah, it was like, do I really wish for them to grow up seeing and believing that this is the healthy dynamic of a relationship? Do I really want my children to learn and to feel and to believe that it's okay to pretend and to chop yourself in order to be accepted? Because let's just cut the BS. Someone asking me to chop myself, dim my light, and change in order for him to love me, it doesn't freaking love you. Let me just break out
Exactly.
the trouble for you. It doesn't, right? So does this really what I want for my kids to see? No, no. I want my children to see that yes, you can be yourself, and yes, there will be people who would worship, like will adore you and love you for everything that you are, that you do not have to change, shop yourself, adjust and everything to be loved. You don't have to do that. It's not a prerequisite to be loved. It is not. That's something that we've been sold when we were kids or however we were growing up, and it's not like that. You will rock the boat again, and people will fall out of your life. It will. It will be painful. Yes, I'm not going to lie. It will. Will you survive? Yes, you will. And
But
you will
also,
gain
you
the
might
people
get
that
the
it's
other
meant
thing
to
that
be
you
there.
you might get the thing where your relationship ends up improving night and day because all of a
Yeah,
sudden your partner starts recognizing that you have boundaries and you mean business.
yeah,
And if he or she's not going to respect your boundaries, then there's consequences. But if they do respect your boundaries, how much better are you going to feel? And it's going to open them up to healing something with themselves for taking advantage of you, you
yeah.
know. So
Yeah, exactly. Because you stand in your power, and that's when that I don't know how to explain it, that light, that vibration, that thing, that force that emanates from you once you stand into your power, what you embrace your uniqueness, what you own your journey, and you freaking decide it's a choice. It said, I'm done with being a victim. I'm breaking from this thing, and that's my choice. I'm gonna transform my hardship and my pain into something. Okay, like I said, into power. For me, it's power. It's like it propels me, just freaking move me. And when you do that, and you inspired other people, and other people see that, and it really creates ripples. And this just, if we go into energy and vibration, it really does. And even people is gonna admire you for that. Even your loved ones, they're gonna be like, oh my God, wow. I'm like, wow, wow, wow. Yes, go for it. Go for it. Rock the boat. Fall in love with you. Embrace it all. And oh my God, it's so worth it. I cannot begin to really to tell to people. It's amazing. It's one of the most, if not the most beautiful and rewarding journeys you will ever take. because you will land in your heart. That's where you will land, there. So yeah, that's how I'm passionate, super about it. My program and everything that I do. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else have a question.
Just how do people sign up? How do people find out more information? Can they contact you somewhere?
Yes. And another thing that I mentioned before is that for the people that is watching, I've decided, I said it, I want to, because I really see how it changed my life. And again, I can really see how this can, as I said, propels people into such an incredible place. So I wanted to give to whoever was watching and hearing the replay or afterwards, I'm going to be giving 5 scholarships from my program. It's going to be a 50% scholarship. And what you have to, when you contact me, you can contact me through my Facebook. That is Issa Mary Blanco Holistic Healing. You can contact me through, also I am in Instagram. It is the same, Issa Mary Blanco Holistic Healing. And you just have to mention, because to know where you're coming from, so I can do that with the scholarship. Just set with what you watch. You watch this. So the New Earth, it's going to be like the code or the word or however you want to label it. So I know where you're coming from, and I'm able to give that. And I'm just going to do it for the first 5 people that contact me And one thing is that it takes work and commitment. And I only work with people that it wants to do it. You really want to do this, and you really want to work. And then if you want to work and we're a right fit, then we'll do it. Yes, let's do it. So yeah, that's how.
Yeah. So just remember, just say New Earth.
Yes.
And in the comments when you get a hold of Issa Mary, and let them know that. And then that'll let her know that you had got that from this show, and then she'll give you that scholarship.
Yes.
So
probably a lot of people out there too that are feeling like, triggered from just watching this, and it's most likely because everybody has wounds to this. There's not one person that doesn't have a wound to this.
Yeah.
Like everybody has felt pain in some way from being taken advantage of. From not being in their voice, from not speaking up, being pressured. Like everybody has. So I think we're like the program here is to help you to love yourself more and to set those boundaries so that you shine more and you transform your relationships to ones that are healthier and ones that are more loving to yourself. So it's not meant to trigger and make you feel pain. But if you do, maybe there's an opportunity for you to heal.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Exactly. And as you said, I believe that we all have wounds, different ones, because we all have suffered different things in our life. And one of the things, and we cover that in the program, is to embrace that part of you too. And it's not to deny it, not to run away from it. And that doesn't mean that we're going to okay, we have to go into it and the full trauma again, and we have to relive, then I want you to, we're going to suffer. It's not about that. It's about, as I said in the beginning, is to really see the transformation that process, that moment in time in your life brought to you. And I know that a lot of people can get triggered by this. I get it.
It's tough work for people to because no one likes confrontation.
No, and we don't like pain. We don't like to feel pain. We don't.
No.
And when we have to work through it, we have to sit with it and to find that part. But I want to tell everyone that it is possible. I'm very open and very transparent with my story. As I said, I've been in an abusive relationship. I was physically abused, and I'm not ashamed of that. I am not ashamed of that. And to say it I mean, the things that had happened, I suffer from eating disorders. I used to be bulimic. I was married with an alcoholic, like things that had happened in my life. And I'm not ashamed because that shaped me. It shaped me, and it allowed me to have the resilience and to find gifts that I would have never been able to find if I wouldn't have been put into that situations. They could have been easier. Yeah, maybe. But those are the ones that I got in my life. And again, it's my choice was to make something from that. And to not to stay in victimhood, and to move from that place and transform that pain, that anger, that rage, that all those feelings that I had into something that propels me, that moves me. That is like the freaking fire that moves me forward.
Absolutely.
And it's not, I'm not denying that. It's not, and it's not that, oh, I'm gonna put myself and think when this man used to beat me. I'm not, no, but it was a part of myself. Yes, it was. It's not there. It's not anymore, but it is part of my journey, and it will always be a part of myself. I don't have to run away.
And because you've been through all those things, you can understand people that are there, and you could go there and put your hand out and help somebody out of that, situation.
Yeah.
So that makes you like an expert on those kind of issues, because you've been there, you understand it, you've had those feelings, and you know what it felt like when it was dark, and you know how to find the light. So you just take them to the light, and that's such a beautiful gift you have. And you're such a beautiful lady, and we so appreciate you being here today. But I mean, I don't know, it's been so much, it's been so nice. I don't know that you guys noticed that, and we're a half hour over. So but we could have been here all day. It's okay. But anyways, so we just want to give you so much love, and always tell you that you're always, with the door is always open to you. You can always come anytime you want and do a circle. Anytime you want to promote something, you come on in. And if you know anybody who also wants to do the same, then tell them to get a hold of one of us and come on in and do a circle with us. We would love to do that. And also to everyone out there who's watching us too, that if there's something on your heart that you want to share, you don't have to be an expert. Just get a hold of one of us, Robin, David, and I, or Jessie May, and we'll get you an appointment, get you on here so that you could share your heart, just as Mary Issa did today. And we're so excited to have had you, and just what a blessing today.
Thank you. And thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for the time. Thank you for everyone that is watching now, and whoever is going to watch this in the replay afterwards, whenever this message finds you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Issa Mary, for giving a gift to our community with the scholarships. I really, that is a really nice thing, and it's very generous. And I just wanted to give you an extra thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you again for everything. Sending everyone lots of love. And I mean, I know that might seem difficult. I know how it feels. If you're hearing me now and you're feeling numb, pain, you think you're not going to make it, I know how you're feeling. There was a moment that I just wanted out. It's possible. You can do it. And it is possible. You can do it. And you're beautiful and you're perfect the way you are now, today, in this moment in time. And you're being loved, held, and supported now as you are. Love you, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Bye.
Bye.
Until the next time.
Till the next time.
Thank you.